Today, we have an amazing entrepreneur, Mr. S.R. Nair, with us. A postgraduate in management, Mr. Nair is a professional turned entrepreneur with over 33 years of experience. His core focus is in technology, marketing, and entrepreneurship. Mr. Nair set up 4 companies in IT alone. He was a board member of Kerala Venture Capital Fund and co-founder of TIE. Mr. Nair is a visiting faculty of Indian Institute of Management, Calicut. He is a public speaker, thought leader, a well-known career counselor. Sir, welcome.
As an NRI, what is the possible investment avenues in Kerala?
Okay. NRIs investing in Kerala is different from NRKs investing in Kerala. It is a non-resident Keralites who invest in Kerala.
Okay.
Non-resident Indians, of course, they come under the category of non-resident Indians. I had seen many non-resident Indians investing in many other parts of the country. Kerala is a emotional weakness for an NRK. Okay, it is, he is miles and miles away, working very hard, toiling body, mind, and soul to
That's
make
right.
some money.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't want to invest it anywhere else, the place that he knows. And he would want to come back to his native place, invest in there to see that there is some residual balance available, as well as is to see that it is useful to his community, his fraternity, his people, and his in Hindi they have a word called biradri, his areas, he's near and dear, and that is what he probably would like to. So now, insofar, most of the investment in Kerala had been in the form of land, in the form of properties. Thereafter, I had seen, of course, in the name of property, they went into building massive constructions and commercial buildings, etc., across different parts of the state. Now, what we need to understand is that Kerala is a consumer society. Kerala is a consuming society. Kerala is not a productive society. So when you come and invest in a consuming society, you may think that by the society consuming it, you can actually make some, we can actually make some surpluses or profits, etc. The thought is correct, but the audience is limited. Now, within the state of Kerala, if you look at it, out of 3.5 crore Keralites, okay, practically about 60 lakhs, about 6 million are outside Kerala. Many of them are in the Middle East, like you, and there are many of them in many parts of the world. So we have something close to about less than about 2.7, 2.8 crore people inside Kerala. They are used to being consuming people because you people sitting in Middle East send the money home, okay, and you ensure that everybody at home is comfortable, okay. So and with the money that is there, and they start getting into consumption-oriented spending rather than productive-oriented spending. Now, also when you come to Kerala to invest somewhere, you look at what are the something which in the earlier times it used to be that the land, property, etc. prices go up. So if you invest in there, the price will go up. It may be right, but you're actually blocking your entire money in the form of this investment, which may lie like this for 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, and many often you may not be able to liquidate because of various other economic parameters that is happening in the state of Kerala. I had seen that the investment in land and property and the construction, etc., has come down from the NRIs, and I also had seen that some of the thinking NRIs looking at other parts of the country, not state, other parts of the country. I had seen people moving into Coimbatore and investing. I had seen people moving into Bangalore and investing. I had seen people moving into Chennai and investing. And of course, there are big time investors like Mr. Yusuf Ali and others are also going into UP, Maharashtra, Gujarat, etc., and investing in these places because the productive yield for their investment is much higher as compared to the productive yield that they get for the investment in Kerala. So I'm of the opinion that the investment so far of the NRIs in Kerala have not been a very productive one. Yes.
What is the MVP or minimum viable product for an NRK who is possibly looking for an investment in Kerala?
uh, Minimum viable product. See, it's like this. Now, where is it that, see, conceptually, their angle about investing in land and property, which we'll appreciate, has been a very good thinking. In fact, there are many instances we have seen that a land which is brought for, let's say, about 10 lakhs of rupees or 1 crore of rupees appreciates to about 80 lakhs or 8 crores, etc. Like that it happened. But it is actually an investment which is not very liquid, and many often into the vagaries of the economic conditions that is happening. See, just look at Kerala. We have close to about 2.8 crore people, that is 28 million people, or 280 lakhs people staying in here. We already have more than about 70 lakhs homes. Okay, so if you really look at it, 280 lakh people and 70 lakh home means it's about per home you'll have about 4 people, and some of them being away. So already that proportion has been achieved. If you're going to build up, if you're going to build up houses, if you're going to build up properties, if you're going to build up flats, if you're going to build up even huge commercial setup, etc. Now, who is going to consume from there? No, we do not see lots of, see, just look at Bangalore. People go to Bangalore and settle down. People go to Chennai and settle down. People go to Delhi and settle down. People go to Mumbai and settle down because of the economic yield as well as the returns of their work that they do could be higher. How many such people are coming into Kerala and settling down here? So even if you're building up all these flats and properties and commercial building, there are not much of people who are coming and asking for those to stay, or they're not getting the yield. So I had seen people going out of Kerala and doing. Now, the challenge here in terms of so 2-3 areas that you can actually look at is, one is manufacturing. Okay, I'd seen where people, but predominantly Kerala, Keralites predominantly had been actually investing in land, property, gold, and sales and distribution sort of things. Sales, that is distribution, sales, and retail, etc. That is what predominantly most of the investment has come. Now, there, because of competition and because of the vagaries of diseases such as COVID, etc. Okay, those also are now not doing well. Otherwise, retail could have been a better proposition. Manufacturing is where multiple additional values are possible, and value additions are possible in manufacturing. So the possibility of net profits, the possibility of higher margins, etc., are possible in manufacturing. Now, manufacturing also is where you can come out with innovative products and do it. Okay, so those areas people never bothered because it is always centered in Kerala. If you set up a manufacturing plant and you may have union problem, you have this issue, that issue, etc. So if anybody wanted to actually invest in manufacturing in Kerala, they will not do it. They will rather go to Coimbatore, or they'll go to Bangalore, and they'll go to other places and invest because of the lesser challenges with the ecosystem, with the stakeholder of the ecosystem. One is that is the labor and the political level of interface. So manufacturing is not happening. Therefore, that also is not actually giving the yield, and nobody wants to do the manufacturing. See, I have been seriously thinking as to what should be. Just look at it. We have a major challenge in front of us. What is the challenge that we have? We have lots of NRIs coming back, right? We have lots of NRKs coming back to Kerala. Now, when they come back to Kerala, they really do not know what sort of a business they should indulge in. Okay, there is one set of business which has been doing okay in Kerala is IT. Another one is financial services. Okay, then of course sales and distribution. These are all the areas that the business has been doing well. So IT, many people do not know. They do not want to come and set up IT houses or IT software development, etc. And that is also being done by people here in the form of startups. So they may not want to go. Okay, now manufacturing, as I have already told you, that is not happening. The third is, of course, retail and distribution, which to a large extent is happening. I think some of the finest of examples is Mr. Yusuf is setting up Lulu Mall here and Antwerp and then Calicut and other places. Many other things are actually coming up. But then, how many Lulu Malls can be accommodated in a city like Cochin? Yes. Okay, how many Lulu Malls can be accommodated in a city like Calicut? How many Lulu Malls can be accommodated in a city like Antwerp? So that means one investment like that happens in others, even if they put up. I'll tell you a classical example. Oberon Mall in Kochi was doing very well until such time that Lulu started. Now Oberon, actually the walk-in has come down to almost about 1/20th of what it used to be. And some of the Oberon walk-ins is only because of cinema house that they have there. So procurement and purchases are not happening. So that means the capacity of the people to buy from multiple malls. And what about that? Those are all there. So, but later, I had been, one area I can tell you, Jalil, and this is the one. Kerala is termed as a must-visit place across. Of course, I understand that because of COVID, travel is not there, travel is not possible, and therefore hospitality, hotel, restaurant, cafeteria, etc. are limited, and related economic things like souvenirs and purchases and etc. is also limited. But that is all going to come back. It is not going to stay like that. It is all going to come back. It's only a matter of time. Now, today you must have read that Pfizer has been cleared. Vaccine has been cleared in the UK. Tomorrow onward, they're starting inoculation the Pfizer vaccine. That means other vaccines also will come. So to a large extent, we may be able to get out of the challenges that has been given by COVID, and therefore all this can restart. Kerala is a place for people. Lonely Planet says it is one of the top 50 places in the country, in the world, that they should come and visit. We have seashores, we have backwaters, we have hillsides, and we have a lot of valleys. Okay, and our business in tourism has been small, not huge. Not 500 room edifices, but 20, 30, 40, 50. Now, from there, if you veer towards this, there are two possibilities. A Kerala can come back, okay, buy 50 cents of land or 100 cents of land, set up his house, make it as a homestay. We'll call it as a homestead, okay, and have some local effects for the people to enjoy. Because see, this is called experiential tourism. People who come to Kerala, they come for experiential holiday, okay. So if they come into Kerala, like Jalil come back. No, Jalil comes back. Let's say comes out maybe Trivandrum, maybe Cochin. But let's say you come back to Cochin. So you go to somewhere closer to Muatupura. You find out 50 cents of land there. We build up a house. You have about 3 or 4 rooms which is going to be used for homestead. You have it registered. Okay. Then around that you have your paddy plantation, you have your fisheries, you have this, that, etc. Which you can do it directly yourself, or which you can do with the ecosystem people, your avasas, like incidental people, we can do it. And then build that up, and people will come, they will celebrate, they will be with you, they will celebrate. And that experimentation has been very good, as I understand from stalwarts of the industry, stalwarts of Kerala tourism industries like Jose Dominic, etc. This is going to be a very good finance, very good solution, a formula for lots of NRIs or NRKs who come back to Kerala. Concentration, homestead tourism, and experiential holiday.
Yeah.
Is it really a good time to start an e-commerce business in Kerala? What is the real future about e-commerce, since Kerala is an IT dominant state?
Yeah. See, every along with tourism, if you look at it, when it's like if I come down to Bahrain, when I come back, I would like to take a souvenir with me that I have been to Bahrain. So I'll just go to a shop and buy something related to the local of Bahrain and buy and come back. And I have been doing it wherever I went. I had taken one caricature out of the place so that I can keep it in my souvenir shop, or at least in my bookshelf. Now, people who visit Kerala, when they go back, okay, what are things that they can go back with? Okay, there's a lot of original thing in typical Malayalam. It is called Tanada. Keralathindeyadaya Tanada Karyang. Okay, just look at Kasavamunda, which is specific to Kerala. Brasswares, specific to Kerala. Dental, the elephant dent based things, specific to Kerala. Lots of sandalwood carvings, specific to Kerala. Bronze as well as copper wares, specific to Kerala. Aramulla Kannadi, specific to Kerala. The boats and snake boats and its caricatures around that, specific to Kerala. Now, see, these things I hardly see any e-commerce setup had been set up to propagate or sell and buy these things. That is one possibility. E-commerce is going to be here to stay. Not only on your souvenirs and things like that. In many areas, e-commerce is here to stay. So definitely a good proposition for a person to invest in and start, provided he understands the game well, and he also understands the technology well to do this, to do that. Yes, Jerry.
In a national perspective, India has had many brands, but in Kerala, we have very limited brands which has a national presence. Why we fail in brand building exercise?
Brand building in Kerala is associated with huge business enterprises. You must be a monopoly or oligopoly or a large enterprise in manufacturing to become a brand. Say, for example, I'll give you a name called VGuard. Okay, over the last 35, 40 years, it has become a brand which is known across the country. So, brand building is related to the entrepreneurship that he has built up. Such entrepreneurship is not happening here, Jalil. Here, the entrepreneurship is based on startups and MSME. And most of the MSMEs are not doing well, and particularly post demonetization, etc., they have gone into huge liquidity problems. And thereafter, the economic conditions being what it is, and added by COVID and other things, so the MSMEs are not doing well. So with MSME, brand building is not, because you should understand, brand building is a consistent and expensive enterprise. You know, it is not an easy thing. So therefore, such brands could not be built up. Okay. At the same time, there is another way of building up the brand, which is called the word of the mouth, WOM, word of the mouth brand. And in that, you know, Kerala tourism is a brand. Kerala nurses are a brand. Kerala nurses are a brand across the world. Kerala tourism, etc. Such brands are there that is related to service, but not related to the products or related to companies. That is a challenge that we see.
And what will be the post-COVID scenario? What business can be, flourishing during this period or after the COVID scenario? What is your comment on that?
See, compared to a lot many states in the country, we have close to about 29 of them. Kerala's atmosphere is still considered to be much cleaner. Now, you must have been hearing about Delhi, Mumbai, etc., and the pollution challenges that they are facing, and the diseases that it is actually creating and spreading. Compared to that, Kerala weather is comparatively good. The amount of investment in clothing, etc., is not that very high, because we are not going through the vagaries of winter, summer, etc. So consistency of the clothing, etc., that is very good. So and secondly, being a known place where you have river, your water, your seashore, your hills, and your all these things. So I go back to what I said. I think tourism is an area which will come back positively, but the tourism operators and restaurant owners and hotel owners, etc., are worried because the central government lately has not been giving them much fillip, or they were not encouraging them to come up, and that has to happen. Once this vaccine become very successful, people will start traveling. It has been part of man's eternal exploration to go and see places, and when it is said that is a place that you must see, one of the 50 places that you must see, people will come. So I definitely do think that we can go back to tourism as one thing. And the second thing is technology. Now we will see, as I see, because I'm working with a lot of startups here, Jalil, I see a lot of startups have the potential to grow up into larger enterprises in time to come. So startup is one, technology-based startup. The third thing that I look at is agriculture, not the currently traditional agriculture. See, you should go and look at how pepper is grown in Vietnam, and rubber is tapped in Malaysia and Indonesia, etc. Completely, the yield is much higher. Okay, so that level of unfortunately, Kerala farm sector, because of the Land Sealing Act, etc., is always very small. It is minuscule. So the consolidated farming doesn't take place. Okay, let it be there. If they are making amendments to that, they can do collective farming and see that they use latest scientific methods to increase the yield, whereas retaining the quality. So agriculture, particularly cash crops, okay, is another area that we can concentrate with a refreshed look, not in the existing way we look at it, refreshed look. And mind you, Jalil, across the world, if you look at it, in oleoresin means essential oil. Okay, Kerala stands on the top. Kerala stands close to 40% of the oleoresin market is, and it is Jalil. If you really look at it, oleoresin means essential oils. Whether it is pepper, all those things actually.
What is the future of organic products from Kerala? Because it seems like it is having an ongoing demand on the market, especially for the organic products. So in Kerala, how we can promote our organic product to overseas?
Some development happens somewhere in the world, and we look at it and find that it is good. So the yield becomes high, productivity becomes high. We try to actually adopt that methodology into us. But over the last 10 years, if we look at it, Keralites have come to realize that, okay, lots of diseases that we have related to cancer or related to many things are because of the usage of pesticide oriented or fungicide oriented products within, and we were not actually cultivating all these products earlier. There had been huge governmental initiative over last 10, 15 years time to slowly come into that, and that has now received a more momentum. So I see that lots of organic sector per se. I would see that I'll again clarify a little. Organic per se is very tough. If you want to really certify your product organic, you have to go through real activity of doing it. Whereas safe to eat, safe to eat is not exactly organic. There will be some content of fungicide, pesticide, but it's safe to eat, allowed by the body. Safe to eat, we should start with safe to eat products and then slowly move into organic and then make it available to the rest of the world. That's what I think we should do.
Yeah, many startups are coming up. I think
Yes,
Kerala is one of the best place for startups recently.
yes,
So,
yes.
since many NRIs are interested in investing in Kerala, how they can cooperate with such potential startups?
Yeah, this is an area that I had been also thinking, as well as I've been finding challenges. We have a lot of HNIs, high net worth individuals who happen to be in the Middle East, who happen to be in other parts of the world as well. Okay, so where they come to see that there are startups happening in Kerala today, we have in excess of 3,000 registered startups, registered with the Startup India program as well as Kerala Startup Mission. Okay, receiving some sort of a guidance, some sort of a mentoring, and some sort of an incubation facility from the authorities that they are. Now, these some of these enterprises, some of them like there's a underwater drone. It has tremendous level of potential. There are many areas in medical, in meditech, many areas in retail and agri-tech. These are slowly coming up. But when the HNIs come to look at this, there is a small challenge. What is the challenge that HNI is saying? The startup here is going the American way, Jalin. Okay, what they do, I have an idea, I convert that to a minimum viable product, okay, or a prototype or a proof of concept. Now I create a business projection saying that 5 years from now, okay, this is going to create 100 crore profitability. Based on that, on discounted cash flow method, I say that the net present value of the product is let's say 6 crore. So an enterprise which is nothing in front of me is currently valued at 6 crore, 7 crore, 10 crore, 30 crore. Now then you tell this HNI, sir, my enterprise which actually is nothing, but it is valued at let's say 30 crore. So I will give you, if you give me 3 crores, I will give you 10%. And this HNI, he grinded his body, mind, and soul in places like Dubai and Bahrain and Saudi Arabia and other places to create this 3 crore people. He has to give it off for 10% of the thing. So he's asking question: how can I give you 3 crore for the 10%? I should have some strategic ownership. Okay, some ownership. Now you're saying that you're doing this. So this discounted cash flow method based valuations must go. There must be some realistic valuations. Okay, or these people must come in at co-founder level, invest and start working with these people. Okay, saying that, look, I am from Bahrain, I am Jalil, I am from Bahrain, I will join you up, I will look at the international marketing of that, I will look at this level of marketing, so I am actually part of it. Okay, now let us look at I'm investing this, the overall listing. I mean, my investment is in either in cash or in sweat, so I am investing in this one, and let us grow it up. I think that will be the right approach rather than coming as an investor, because when you come in as an investor, he is actually showing you a valuation which you will not accept. Okay, you will not want to invest in. So I think is a win-win situation or a win-win formula need to be worked out between the HNIs coming from outside as well as the locals. And secondly, the startup guys also must have an attitude of sharing and caring. If they don't want to share, they only want the money from you and don't want you to be part of this business, then it doesn't work out that way. So that is another thing that I have been trying to tell many people that see the type of the type of the so-called one man doing everything is over. We are today new generation employment, new generation enterprises, etc. is based on collective teamwork, collaborative and collective teamwork. So you need to have more people coming in at co-founder level, looking at disparate and separate functions for the success of the organization. So the Bhagirathas will not work any longer. We need collective, collaborative setup to work, Jalil.
The potential of Middle East is slowly vanishing.
Yes,
So
sir.
there is a rehabilitation process in place. Many
Yes.
of us are trying to come back to Kerala. So
Yes.
what will be the ideal situation over there? Where should we invest?
First is tourism. Okay, in the way that I have said, without investing hugely. How? Homestead. For example, you may have a home in Trivandrum or in here. So will I be able to convert that into providing experiential homestead tourism so that people can book you through Airbnb and come and stay so that you get the yield? And there are very good number of examples here. Okay, so this you must definitely look up at. That is one part. Tourism is one side of the one part of the story. The next is the value additions that you can do. The value additions that you can do for tourism, that is in the form of souvenirs and related businesses. The second is the value additions that you can do on the agriculture. Okay. Now the improve the yield, see that the quality product having a better yield and organic or at least safe to eat proposition they are made. There is level of contribution you can do, and taking them out of Kerala to many parts of the world is another thing that you can do as far as business is concerned. That is, I'll call agricultural, which is based on agri-tech based agriculture, like dairy, like farming. Okay, do you know something? All of us actually take in Malayalam we call thaira. Okay, for our for when we have a lunch or dinner, whenever it is. But how many of us are manufacturing a product based on that here? How many are branded, thing is available? So if you have a dairy, if you have paneer, okay, and the like products that you can build up, again, not a very hugely investing proposition. So those things are another. That is agricultural, farming, etc. is another. And of course, the last is last is export oriented proposition, where it could be services or it could be products that we make it and send it across, which is a time consuming one, but still it is possible. I have recently found that the Kerala spices, okay, it is a very good souvenir. When you go to, it has about 6 covers under which your different size spices are kept. No, why not I make it as a proposition to export, safe to eat or organic, and exporting it? So value added export is another area that you can actually look at.
The government is taking proactive steps to mobilize investment in India. As an experienced entrepreneur like you, could you tell us the real yield in investing asset and business in India while our GDP is reflecting a historical decline day by day?
The good news, Jalil, is that GDP will go up. The good news is that, see, it's like in a ground zero. When you're in ground zero, you can't go down any longer. When you're in ground zero, you cannot go down any longer. So you can only go up. And the indications that is coming from RBI, the indications that is coming from financial analysts, etc., is that actually slowly from that minus 27% etc., that we have registered, we are moving up. So have no worries. The GDP is actually going to move up. Okay. Now, so when you are in the ground zero, you will see your investment can be as low as possible. Your expenses can be as low as possible, and it can be as optimal as possible. I would reckon that these are the times that you could come back and start preparing and setting up your businesses. So at the right time, as it blossoms, you can take maximum advantage of that. If not locally, outside, because I definitely do see that it is not the internal consumption that we should be looking at. Consume we must do internally, but we must also be finding out the external consumption, or that is exports that we can do, and that is where the possibilities do exist.
Thank you so much, sir, for being with us.
Thank you very much. All the very best to you. It is so nice to know you. It is so nice to understand your viewpoint and perspective. And let's be in touch. All the very best to you, sir.
Thank you.